Namaste world raisers, Sabina and Roger here. Let's watch Rays of the Absolute, the legacy of Sri Nisargadatta Maharaj. It was a request by our world yogi Shash Rao, and it made me super happy. Well, no words can describe it, so I'm not gonna even try. We only covered Nisargadatta once on this channel, very early on, so I'm super excited to learn more about him. Oh, I already get in a state. Roger?
Yeah, so I just want to say that it is from the channel Science and Nonduality, and we are aware of this channel, and we absolutely love what they're doing and their work, and spreading the teachings of non-dualities.
In 1976, I was fortunate enough to be handed a copy of I Am That. In January of 1979, I met Sri Nisargadatta Maharaj.
Wow.
Nisargadatta Maharaj passed away in September of 1981. I left India in June of 1982. Although I returned to India several times over the next 25 years, it wasn't until 2007 where I and the Neti Neti film crew decided to go back to meet with Maharaj's old-time disciples, and specifically to meet the translators that were still alive and interview them, asking them what were the most important teachings and what had happened for them over the last 26 years.
So cool.
It's so him, he's so nothing, that it's so him that he left nothing almost in a certain way. It's like it's just gone. The archival filmage you're about to see was shot by Joseph, who passed away about 3 years ago. Joseph was one of the closest, if not the closest, Western disciple to Nisargadatta Maharaj. Thank you.
Ganesha?
This is the room where Sri Nisargadatta Maharaj sat and gave answered questions.
Wow.
So nice to meet you. I really
Oh no, I could start crying already. Oh no.
Keep it together, Sabine.
Together. Oh.
When I came to him, the pain was so overwhelming. And for him to, to take the time, there just aren't people like that anymore. There's nobody there like that anymore. It's just gone. Our next stop was Mulapatan. Mulapatan was Nisargadatta Maharaj's primary translator from 1976 until the time he passed.
You can say 1977 he regularly started these talks. Morning, evening, no Sunday. And in my own house, here also.
Yeah.
And when first I brought him here to show my house, I showed him my dear gods, We are all deities. And
Jesus.
He said, very
Krishna.
nice. But you don't think, tomorrow you collect them and put them into sea. Put them into sea. Because the purpose of for which you are coming to me is not to hang on to the deities outside, but to deity in you.
Wow.
Waking state is observed by that very principle. I am now. Waking state. And with the waking state, all this world is manifest because of my beingness. My world is manifest. That also is observed by that state, which is prior to beingness.
Forget me, forget my teachings, but abide in your own being. and the Absolute will give you the right directions. Your true Guru is when you are shed of everything, that the ray of the Absolute in you is your true Guru, ultimate Guru.
And I'll tell you a story you might not, because I remember it was you. You were translating, and a very famous, now it's someone who's very famous, who I won't say was there. He was sitting in front of me. First day there. So Maharaj says, what's your spiritual practice? Well, I watch your breath and the rising, falling. And so the man describes Vipassana, but he's getting, like this. Maharaj looks at him and he just said, that's not it. So I'm watching him, and from the back, it was like his whole body was made of glass. That's what it felt like. And it's like he threw a rock through it, Maharaj. Now, you know what you said? I never saw you say this. I'll never forget this. You looked at it, I felt such bad. I mean, I know what this guy's going through because I went through it like a few months ago. And you leaned over to this man and you said, don't worry. Whatever you tell Maharaj you're doing, he always says, that's not it.
Until then, he says, you jump into the pit, he says.
जाणवण्याच्या आधी माझे जे असणे आहे ते जाणीव निर्णय नाही केला आहे ते जाणीवीचं साक्षीत्व त्याला घडते आहे आणि जाणीव नंतर जगाचं साक्षीत्व करते आहे.
Your mind is meant to deal with the world and to sustain your body in this world. But to understand the Absolute, you have to shut off the mind and the logic which follows the mind. Logic is limited, is truncated knowledge. Science and everything pertains to mind and downwards.
Yes.
Mind and downwards. That is not useful there at all. Because, the ultimate is so subtle that it cannot be reached by your limited mind or your intellect or anything. Your best scientific instruments. It is continually changing. This is also continually changing.
Yes.
You are continually changing. So there you are not real. Mithya. What I see you now, like a mirage, a moment back. When I come, you are different. You understand? That is mind and this thing, this happens here. In reality, there is no change. Because that black hole.
यथार्थ नव्हे जाणीव राहणे न राहणे हे पण यथार्थ नव्हे जाणीव जाणवते आहे ते फक्त पाहणे जाणीव जाणवते आहे त्याचा अनुभव घेणे होणे ना लगे अजून व्यक्तीचा स्क्रू काढून टाकलाच नाही व्यक्तीचा स्क्रू तुझा गेला पाहिजे व्यक्ती आहे कल्पनेचा स्क्रू फेकला गेला पाहिजे
80 or so black hole was discovered. So I had read in English paper, but Maharaj used to read Marathi. So it is called Krishna Weaver, the black hole. So I read that. Maharaj, you know this meaning of this? He said, what is it? I said, it's a black hole. Everything collapses and goes into a point where the intensity of gravitational force is immense. So that is the state. That is the state. That is the state you have to. That means whatever your attention goes out, collect it in and abide in the being. Full force.
अशा स्वतःची इच्छा स्वतःचे प्रेम हे उघड झाले पाहिजे तू देहाला धरून बाहेरच्या विषयावर आशा इच्छा वाचना मागतोय तुझी आशा कर तुझी इच्छा कर मग वांछित आहे तुझी वासना काय आहे आपण पाहिजे मी हयात पाहिजे.
When you are in zero mind, then you are in consciousness, the self. self is consciousness, the ray of the absolute in each person. That consciousness. Its consciousness functions to this.
Beingness together with the manifest world or the beingness, both will disappear. And this is being observed by that ultimate principle.
The ray of the absolute is also in this. Understand? The ray of the absolute is in everything, because everything is made of the absolute.
तुला कशाला बनवलंय आणि कल्पना सगळे सगळं पुढे आमच्या कल्पना त्याला रूप नाही ही पण कल्पना पुन्हा आलं ही कल्पना कल्पना.
So he said, that you were going while smoking.
Oh, he smokes.
Yes, yes.
Looks like it, yeah.
So it is nothingness. And nothingness itself is the ultimate. So in the absolute, you depend on nobody. It is pure, because there is no body.
There's nobody. Nobody.
Oh, he was so blessed. Aww. Oh, what a blessed being.
The next stop was to the Samadhi shrine of Sri Nisargadatta Maharaj's guru, Siddharameshwar. We were guided in a very, very beautiful way by a trustee named Vijay Sawat.
I have to go there too. Put on list, Mumbai, I've never been. What are they chanting?
One day, I went with him in the Khetwadi Maharaj house. I went there. When I entered that your steps, you know that steps were there, and when we entered there, he was sitting. Bidi was there. The moment I entered, he pointed out to me, asking, "Tu kaun hai?"
Sunglasses, cigarette.
"Tu kaun hai?" Meaning, who are you? It was like a bomb, atom bomb. The question was like an atom bomb. It broke away my illusory concepts.
Nice.
I was thinking that I know something. I have learned something after reading books. Okay, I know. He threw such a bomb that it vanished all the thoughts. A thoughtless state was there.
Sweet.
तो आहे कसं हे सांगण्याच्या निमित्ताचं नाही कसं हे सांगत असतो. हो अगदी आहे कसं हे सांगण्याचं निमित्त आहे. औद्य दाखवतो पण तो नाही कसा काय पुन्हा ते बोलला ना भेट मला काय करायचं.
So, being with beingness, to be with beingness is a learning process. You have to learn slowly and steadily by keeping faith in the self, not anyone. You can keep faith in Nisargadatta Maharaj additionally, because it is taught by him. He has taught it. So keeping faith in him, but keeping real faith in yourself, you have to learn. I amness or beingness is whenever it is there, it will show you the film. it will show you the film. If you want to see the truth, you have to dissolve I am. It has to be dissolved. Gradually, means Maharaj used to tell us, why you are thinking that you should learn immediately? If there is a jungle, there are so many trees. Every tree doesn't blossom at a time. All trees doesn't blossom at a time. When time comes, it will blossom. We should not be worried when you will be knowing the truth. Let it take its own course of time. Be faithful to yourself, and you will understand.
Love that.
Yeah.
That's good.
What you will understand? That you are nothing, but this nothingness is not a vacuum, it is not a zero. When time starts, when there is a consciousness of I am, the time starts. Then you count 1, 2, 3, but it starts. Process starts from the beingness. The day on which he spoke and asked me the question, that day it started to vanish the I am. It took place from the same day. So vanishing doesn't happen in a fraction of second. It happens in a fraction of second, but then it is a process. Once you want to discard something, it is not discarded suddenly. Even at what you call a death, the body doesn't get discarded immediately. It takes up some time, no? So in the same way, what illusions you have got, what wrong thoughts we have got, they take their own time to vanish away.
Even this beingness was not mature enough to understand.
So what was your position in the mother's womb? Prior to consciousness, and prior to 100 years, what were you? Whatever you have learned, you will come to know that it is false. Whatever you have learned, it is not true.
Deep.
Vijay took us to the Sri Nisargadatta Maharaj center, which is called a Kendra. Maharaj had said to his devotees, when I die, just take my ashes and put them into the sea. But they couldn't do that. They had to keep a little bit of it, which they put into this center, into this Kendra.
Thank you.
And every Friday, they come and chant Maharaj's bhajans there. Vijay said to me, we just couldn't put all the ashes in the sea. We had to keep some of them. You could say it was the ignorance of his devotees.
Right.
Perfect.
Only Maharaj's words what I was reading. Maharaj's words I was reading, which are enter in my mind. Those words.
So in the same way, I went to him. The moment he saw me, he said, yes, welcome, welcome. Then I sat with him. But during that time, I was so much so attached to him, there was no verbal conversation. After 1 month, 1.5 months of my first visit, he gave me name, Namadena.
He gave you a name.
Mantra.
I gave you a mantra, yeah.
We call it Namadena. That means it is giving mantra. What is the principle behind this, all this That is known as principal mantra. He gave me. Then he said, now you can follow. Now there is no need. When your outside guru, external guru, it will teach you now from your internal guru.
And when I had opportunity, he took me also once. And Maharaj said, next time I went with my father and Maharaj said, do you want Nama Mantra? Yes, I was very eager to. So I said, yes, I want. Like chocolate biscuits they give for a child. They gave me Nama Mantra immediately at that time. And then he said, just catch hold of that. Just don't forget it, that's all. This, whatever I have given you is enough. I used to ask him, I don't get any experiences, I don't have any, I'm nowhere. He used to say, whatever I have given you is enough, it will take care of itself. It will take care of you, it will take everything. You need not worry.
Yeah.
The clairvoyance.
Several of the trustees came to the hotel we were staying, and we had a chance to spend a few hours just talking with them.
Mother's mama, this is my grandfather. From mother's side. But by his grace I am doing this pray, bhajan, it develops. So that is the grace of my Guru. We came here. And it has taken some time to understand what I am now also.
मध्ये ईश्वराच्या नावाने ध्यानाने ध्यान करताना तू आत्मप्रेमला प्रसन्न होईल. आत्मप्रेम प्रसन्न होण्याचा त्याच्यावर देवदेवानी करावं लागतं.
This name is given by him. I am that.
पाचही भूत सावळाचे ग्रहण केला. मग आत्मा काय सावळाचे नव्हे का? आत्मा म्हणजे तू. पण हे नव्हे. एवढंच नव्हे. म्हणजे या सहित आहेस तू.
I was not having any sweetness in my tone, but he has given me that. Whatever the singing come through my mouth, he is singing. Because I was knowing I was not just similar simple stone on the road. He had developed up to this level now. This is a big experience, and experience is there. He said experience is also not remaining. It will also go. The time is there to grasp it, to capture it, to vanish it. So experience is not remaining. What is remaining? You are there.
आता ती काय जाग जो आणि जाणी ती तेव्हाच आहे. ती जाणार तुला कळते. मग काय त्याने म्हटलं तेच का घेऊन बस म्हणत नाही. मरायला पाहिजे तुला म्हणजे तुला तुझे हे नटणे होणार. मग तुझे असणे काय ते बघून घे.
20 years I was with him. He suddenly told me, you come next day and you will get it. If you don't understand it, it's not mine. The words which are listening will work out within yourself. It will come out. Just like a seed, we plant a seed and afterwards it grows into tree. That means whatever you are hearing will grow.
फळं येतात. तसे आंबे हे सांगतो. आंब्याचं बारीक तो, खायला कडू, नंतर लागतं आंबट. पण तेच काही दिवसांनी त्याच्यामध्ये मधुर रस होऊन कळले आंबाचा रस तयार होतो. तसंही तयार झालेलं आहे. तसंही तयार झालेलं आहे. कोणी केलेलं नाही.
One day he spoke into humanity. If you are not awake, where is the God? When you awake, the God is there. In sleep, there is no God, nothing else. So when you awake, the God awakes.
So when you are there, God is there. If you're not there, nothing is there.
मी देव म्हणतोय. देव म्हणतोय. देवाचे रूप मी असल्याशिवाय देव मी कसं म्हणणार. ज्याला देव म्हणायचं आहे त्याचा अधिष्ठान मी असण्याचे ज्ञान आहे. मी असे ज्ञान तुला देवरूप कोणाला येणार आहे.
Yeah, let's touch on that. Just because it is a pretty deep understanding, but if you contemplate deep enough, then you can see the reality of it. So everybody, as spiritual seekers, seeking the absolute and seeking God, we externalize that, even internally to a depth that it exists beyond us, right? It's prior to us. It's prior to everything. So God is first. But at the same time, if there was no consciousness within us, then we couldn't even say that God exists, because it's only through our subjective awareness that the whole universe exists for us. So without that, yeah, of course we wouldn't exist. There's no doubt. But at the same time, God wouldn't exist either. If there's no subjective awareness to experience, the creation, then you can't even say that there's a creator of the creation, because there's nothing to experience it. So it's cutting through, the duality and the separation, so that you got to see that, God exists within you.
Mm-hmm.
Right? As well, because if it wasn't for your awareness and your consciousness, which, yeah, God is the source of that, but at the same time, it's also your higher self. It's the truth. And then if it wasn't for your subjective awareness, the I am that he was teaching us how to reach by showing us everything that we are not, what remains is that. And because that exists, God exists, because if it wasn't for that, nothing would exist. Right?
And everything we perceive cannot be us.
Yeah. So that's absolute, Dzogchen teachings as well, right? So everything is an appearance to the mind, right? And whatever appears to the mind, is an appearance. So even the body, even all of the senses, even the thoughts within the mind itself is still an appearance to the subjective awareness, right? The background, the substrate, the consciousness of the mind, right? So, Rigpa, Buddha nature, the omniscient field of consciousness, the substrate, and everything that appears to that can't be you. Yeah, deep. Profound. Yeah, I love this. It's a great documentary so far. I love how they got little snippets of like olden footage, and then they'll show, the same place with the new footage. So yeah, really going back in time and then interspersing it with what the speakers are talking about, receiving the teachings, and then they'll go and show a little snippet of that teaching from Nisargadatta.
So blessed, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And he was smoking and sunglasses. Oh, I had to laugh. My God, my judgment. I just don't know.
Yeah, that's
I
enough.
used to be so judgmental. I just don't know why, because it's so... Well, it's almost like, how can I have had these judgments if everything was out there proving me otherwise? You know what I mean?
Well, you didn't really come across it, though, did you?
Well, I
Till
heard...
now.
Yeah, not Nisargadatta, but, there are these stories from Tibetan masters who smoke and drank and whatever, even Milarepa's teacher, Marpa. And yet when, I saw teachers doing it nowadays, I was like, so judgmental. And yet it's completely normal, obviously. Nisargadatta, David Hawkins supposedly smoked. It's like, it's...
Yeah, you never know. So that's why it's important. We're the ones that need to do the work, right? If we're judging anything outside of ourselves, somebody... That's why I'm not a big fan of judging teachers, any teachers. I'm not going to call any teacher fake, because we don't know their purpose. We don't know their mission. We don't know their realizations. We don't know what they're actually trying to accomplish, what's their destiny is, right? It's not up for us to decide. Those who are attracted to those teachers, great. If I'm not, that's okay, but I'm not going to judge anything.
Everything is happening. You don't take on yourself. You be witness of that, witnesser of that.
प्रपंच परमार्थ दोन्ही थकतात, थकेवर यांचे होणार आणि मी केलं असं वाटणार. Things will happen and you will think that the things are happening because of you.
Suppose somebody dies in your family, don't get attached. If your body is paining, don't think you are pain. Let it be pain. It will completely exhaust.
But there is no identity of I am anybody. By forgetting that just happiness. Any male, female or anything, I am anybody.
देहाच्या ओळखीने देहाच्या रूपाने बघतोय, पण बोलणारे देह नाही आहे, विजयी आहे.
Somebody is not able to meditate. He has asked him to do bhajan. He knows he will come up by bhajan. Somebody came for only that I am that question and answer. He doesn't need to meditate. He doesn't need to bhajan also. He knows that his basic is ready.
Many of your questions vanish once you put your identity in the consciousness, whether you are doing this, whether you are doing that, whether you are the doer, whether you have the free will, what will happen tomorrow, what has happened yesterday, all this stops once you just shift your identity from the body mind to the consciousness. Once you are not the body mind and in the consciousness, then where is the doership comes at all? Doership comes only when you take hold of your body or mind as yourself. That is the working, the intellect and everything is working. But that is not the thing. You don't put your identity on that, you put your identity on the consciousness. Then where is the question of working itself comes? It is just awareness that is aware of everything. And he also used to say, whenever you come up, you keep the shoes and chappals downstairs. Keep your intellect also downstairs and come. Nothing, there is no work for intellect here. No, intellect cannot, this is what we are talking is where intellect cannot reach. It is prior to intelligence. And everything is illusion, don't worry about anything. Happening is happening. What to whom it is happening? That is the question. The happening is for the body, mind and other things that is happening. But you are not that. You are not in the happening state. That is happening. What you are asking is the happening. Happening is to whom apa pata hai. That is only for the body, mind, intellect and the picture. That is happening. But from where the picture starts? How the picture starts? Maharaj always used to say, where science stops, that Vijnan, he used to call the Vijnan state. Actually Vijnan, usually many Indians confuse with science. Science they call it Vijnan. But when Maharaj says Vijnan, it is prior to Jnana and Ajnan. Jnana is knowledge and Ajnan is ignorance. Prior to both the duality is the state Vijnan. He says when science ends, this Vijnan state is there. That science has nothing to do with that. You cannot, there is no question of logical thinking or logically doing something is not there.
The absolute.
Everything comes later. See, your intelligence, your science, your everything comes later after the consciousness stirs. So whatever happens after the consciousness stirs, it is, you can just ignore it. It is anyhow, it is going to be thrown out as a dust in the dustbin, or it is not not good. There is no point in just finding out whether it is good or bad or what is happening. It is anyhow, it has to be thrown out. He will never, miss his bhajan or something. He had fever, then also he will take bath and come up and do the morning puja for his guru and do everything. But he says, some may ask, you say that there is no guru, nothing, why you are doing? This is also just a thing of happening. The consciousness is worshipping the consciousness. It is the thing. That is where the worshipper and the worshipped are the same. It is not that you are different. When you pray or when you do the puja or something, the only thing is Ananya Bhakti. That is, you and me are the same. It is not the same, means this cup and this cup are the same cup, not like that. It is the same thing. It is, I mean, they are equal or something, it is not like that. They are the one. The one is, that is happening. Yeah, of course, Maharaj used to have a lot of devotion and unless devotion is, for me, I mean, devotion is the first and foremost thing. You should have faith and devotion. Then jnana comes automatically. At the end, the both are the same. It is you and me are the same. There is no I am that. You are telling the same thing. I am that. You and me are the same. There is no difference at all. That is the Navavita Bhakti, they call it. No? That is the last Bhakti, is the Ananya Bhakti.
Oh, that is
That is your friendship, and that other one is, there is no difference at all. And Maharaj never left any, usually all the festival days, he never missed even one festival day to go to his guru's samadhi and pray. He always used to say. And those days it used to be very hot, and that place was very difficult, I mean, with stones and piercing. Then also he used to go, I mean, then also you can feel that he is doing the puja and he is not the body. See, when he is saying you are not the body of the mind, Maharaj can never be the body of the mind. Okay. He is not even the consciousness, he is even prior to the consciousness. He always used to say, I am not talking to you, it is only to the consciousness. You feel that you have come here on your own? No, the consciousness has brought you here, brought this body here. What we have to find out is how the consciousness and how it stirs and how it happens. That is the stirring of the consciousness is the, what we can say is the sharana or the movement. That gives you the realization how fictitious it is, why it shows. I mean, it is just a happening like the TV program is happening, it is happening. So you have to go to the source. That is the pada darshanam or the stirring of the consciousness. That is the feet. And he knows how it stirs. That's why he always used to put, I mean, emphasis on, yeah, it is the TV show, I mean, the film also, what you see, many films are taken and then you run it very fast and you feel the continuity. It is not so. Many are taken in very various different times and then it is fast broken. So once you have the very, very slow motion, you can see that very, very slow motion if you want to have, you have to stay put there. He always used to say, at the conceiving state, at that point, the whole picture is put there. The whole film is there. That film just develops and then it comes in front of you and that is what is happening. Nothing can be done. It is programmed in the conceiving state. The only thing one can understand is you are not in the program. You are not that. The programming has done and the film show is going on and you are not in the film show. Don't identify yourself with the film show.
She's great. Oh, I would love to talk to her.
Practice is to stay put in the consciousness. The only thing one has to do is stay put in the consciousness and to be there only for in that, so that you can understand much better how this film show is coming about. Even the morning comes also, it is only the film show of the consciousness has come. It has come on that. You are not getting up. In that show, that getting up is happening.
Let's pause here for part number 1. It was such a deep discussion talk of this beautiful woman, and I would like Roger to comment on it and summarize it for me.
So these are deep teachings, but if you can grasp it, it's like it ties so beautifully with everything we've been learning recently from, other sources, right into Bentinho's meditation that we did.
The meditation master. Oh, the latest.
The latest one.
Okay,
that we did on our channel here, just the destiny fulfilled, because he talked quite a bit about being in the movie, right? So you're projecting yourself, so your wish-fulfilled state, realizing that, projecting into the future, but realizing that the future, is a potentiality that exists now. So you're manifesting that. And then whatever happens along the way, to reach that it's like it's in a movie, right? And then she was talking about that as well, the film, right? So waking up in the morning is happening, but it's not you. So from a certain point of view, you're identifying with consciousness, which is, so potent and so powerful, which is what I do, as a personal practice all the time. So even though the ego is still functioning and Roger is still behaving and doing, there's also an observer consciousness, which I'm identified with as me, even though this lower me is still acting and behaving. I know that that's the actor in the play, right? So there's one play and everybody is being a character, at the level of the ego. The ego is just operating on the modes of material nature, like we learned in the Bhagavad Gita, the level, whatever level of consciousness you're at, all the programs, the inherited tendencies and the delusions, that's the character in the play, and that's the divine play. Everybody's playing this part, but in reality, we're not the character. We're not the actor. We're not the doer. We're the observer. We're the consciousness that is primary to that. So very much looking at the light bulb. In a movie projector, there's a light bulb, and it's shining through the film and then shining the image onto the wall, right? And then we see those images on the wall, and then we identify with them as us, even though in reality, we're the light bulb. The light symbolizes consciousness. Without the consciousness, there wouldn't be any physicality.
Leave some light bulbs in the comment section.
Yeah. So that's what it's about. So that's why I love how light is a term used in spirituality, quite a bit, and it represents consciousness, right? Because consciousness is the awareness, and it's the same as like the sun. Without the sun, or without a source of light, we wouldn't be aware of any forms. It would be utter darkness. There would just be black darkness in this universe. There might be existence, but it wouldn't be the existence, like we can see light and colors, through our eyes. And it's very symbolic as well with consciousness, because if there was no consciousness, there wouldn't be anything that exists, because consciousness is the very thing that allows things to be experienced. Right?
Okay, and now the absolute. What are the Buddhist terms for absolute?
The absolute, so depending on the tradition, you got Dharmakaya, you have Rigpa, you have even Buddha nature, right?
Oh, is that the absolute? But no, you said like beyond coming and go, like...
Yeah, so it's beyond, when you understand those terms, they're beyond existence and non-existence.
That's what I wanted to hear. Oh, okay, so beyond existence and non-existence. Okay, yeah. Yeah. So
that's the awareness. So I don't differentiate too much between consciousness and awareness. At this level, it's something that'll arise, I think, much further along the journey. For now, it's enough to be focused on the consciousness within, because beyond the consciousness within is the awareness, which I see more of as Rigpa, right? Pristine awareness. That'd be like Shiva, which synonymous with that which is not, but it doesn't mean nothingness. It means there's still an awareness there, right? So the stillness, the emptiness is still cognizant. And so it is consciousness. So consciousness can be totally empty and free of all forms, and then that would be the awareness, right? The ground, the substrate of the whole universe. But within incarnated beings, what we know is consciousness. So consciousness is the very capacity that can perceive all of our senses internally, and it's prior to all thoughts and thinking that goes on in the mind, right? So beyond that is the awareness. And the awareness is not, there's no question. The awareness is the absolute, right? Because without awareness, nothing could be said to exist. Because if there's no awareness to experience anything, then nothing could be said to exist. So awareness is one of the principal qualities of the absolute, synonymous with it. And you got to think about this, the vastness of the universe. And then now we're understanding multiverses, multiple universes. And there's an awareness coming from the absolute that, you know, is holding all of the universes within. But at the same time, you can't even call it, you know, in that scope, you can't even call it infinite or finite because it's beyond, you know, relativity, right? Because the whole multiverses, from a certain point of view, could be contained within an atom, right? Because it's consciousness, and consciousness is beyond, you know, size. It's beyond form, it's beyond time, it's beyond space. You know, it's pure energy, power. Mind-blowing.
Okay, let's finish part number 2. And we hope you join us for part number... the other way around.
Yeah, this was part number 1.
You take over,
So
please. I'm starting to...
Yeah, so thanks so much for joining us for part number 1 of this amazing documentary. Yeah, so
Nonduality
blessed
and
and so
science,
fortunate, and thank you to the makers of this for, you know, going back in time and revisiting these sites and interviewing these people. I think it's absolutely incredible. So thank you so much for joining us, and we hope to see you on part number 2.
Peace.
Peace.